how you going? It's Donna here, Free to Be Pet Therapy, and today I thought I would share Rose's story with you. So this is Rose. Jane was Rose's human, and Jane had had a pretty serious car accident back in 2022, and soon after that Rose lost her foal in the Queensland 2022 floods. Rose was also involved in a floating accident in 2023 on the way home from a vet visit to help get her pregnant. Now, as you could imagine, Rose required a lot of help at the physical level. She was sore through the back and right hip. Her jaw was out of alignment. She was out at the pole. So the pole is just up sort of around the ear area. And she wasn't able to lie down for a while either. So Jane explained to me that Rose had a little bit of time off just to help her. She had some help at the physical level with some body work and so forth. She had rest and recovery, and she seemed to recover all right at a physical level, outside the fact she still couldn't seem to get a right leg lead canter. And she also just wasn't her normal self. She was sad, she seemed depressed, and it seemed almost like she had some PTSD. I also found out afterwards that Rose had lost her sass out in the herd. This can happen with horses. When they get depressed, they can quite often choose to withdraw, or they can lose interest in interacting with the other horses. Okay, so in total, Rose ended up needing 3 energy healing sessions. And some of the things that came up within all those 3 energy healing sessions was, 1, she needed some brain integration, which just gets the left and right sides of the brain working together. She required a thymus balance, so that's just for an energy boost and an immune boost. So yeah, Rose also required an essence during her healing sessions. It was called Breathe Easy, so it didn't really seem to have anything to do with the intention set, which was sort of to help her move through the trauma that she's experienced. But what Breathe Easy does is it actually helps to open up the airways and just allow for ease of breath. And what Jane ended up telling me was, because I had no idea why this came up, and she said to me that apparently Rose has always been really hypersensitive. When she eats hay, she's really hypersensitive of the dust, and it will make her persistently cough, whereas the other horses don't seem to have a trouble with it at all. So I'm gathering that's why it came up. And so that's what happens with healing, or the healing that I do anyway. Everything operates at a priority level. So, you know, if something needs to be healed before we can go deeper, then it does. And in this case, obviously, her hypersensitivity to the hay and the dust, or the dust in the hay, I should say, needed to be dealt with before we could move on. Okay, we got to a few emotions over the course of the 3 sessions. I'll just look at my notes here so that I remember them all. So yeah, one of the first emotions that came up was depression. It became an issue for Rose around the 4th of June 2022, and I'm pretty sure this was related to the loss of the foal in those Queensland 2022 floods. It was sort of just after that period. So yeah, Jane didn't really reveal a lot to me until later on, but that was pretty much my guess. And then on the 26th of December 2022, what became an issue for Rose was grief. Now, I thought that was possibly to do with the loss of the foal, but later on at the end of the video, you'll find out what that was all about. Then the emotion of confusion came up. This became an issue for Rose around the 10th of June 2023. Now, this would have been roughly when that floating accident happened. So you can just imagine if a horse is stuck in a float and all of a sudden, now I'm not sure if the float rolled or what happens. I would say it would, considering the damage that was done. Obviously, imagine being a horse in there, you're going to be pretty bloody confused what's just happened. So that was completely understandable, and I was able to release that for her, so that was really cool. A couple of other emotions came up, exhaustion, and also, what was it? Bitter. So exhaustion was August 2023 and bitter was November 2023. I'm not 100% sure what that was all about, but I mean, the exhaustion is obviously could have a lot to do with just everything that went on. Jane did the best she could for Rose and brought out all the body workers and this, that and the other. And I'm sure, you know what it's like when you've got an injury yourself and you have to go and do this, that and the other to help yourself. And not that it's a bad thing to help yourself, but it can be very exhausting. And it's exhausting even just focusing on the pain that you've got. Like, it really takes it out of you. So it definitely makes sense. An essential oil ended up coming up for Rose. She needed chamomile. It's actually, chamomile can be a mold sedative, so very calming and relaxing, and I would say that was what it was all about, considering Rose had let me know that she pretty much thought, Jane had let me know that she pretty much thought that Rose was experiencing, PTSD. She had a lot of anxiety, so obviously chamomile would be nice and calming and soothing for her. Over the course of the 3 healings, Rose also needed some downloads. So a download is basically where Rose would be receiving information from either her higher self or someone else in the spiritual realm, possibly someone in the physical realm as well. So she needed a 5-day download for one healing. She needed a 12-day download for another, and I think a 7-day download for another. So obviously, once the healing is done, you know, it's going to take at least those 5 days to integrate while she's receiving that information. Okay, Rose needed some archangels, so she needed Archangel Michael, who's very much about protection and courage and strength, protector of joy, restores harmony and peace, and just basically can cleanse any negative energy away. So she needed Michael, and she also needed Archangel Metatron. Archangel Metatron is very much about clearing away anything that no longer serves you at a physical, mental, emotional, spiritual level. And Archangel Metatron can also access Akashic records. So yeah, the Akashic records are basically like the universe's library that contains energetic information about every soul's past and present. So being able to access that and alter things can probably come in really handy. I had to release some ancestral energy from Rose. She had some nervousness that I had to release. There was cancer from her mother's side, I think 3 generations back. And there was also a spiritual miasm. I can't really define exactly what that is, but something to do with the spiritual level. Once again, it was from her mother's side or the dam side. That was 4 generations back. Okay, I also had to release a negative belief. A negative belief is generally picked up from a human, either in this lifetime or a previous lifetime. Happened to be in this lifetime, I think it was August 2024, and it was associated with guilt. And to release that negative emotion, I needed to use an essence called Fear No More. Okay, Fear No More helps to deal with fear of the known and unknown, as well as panic and terror. During the healings, I had to use the Flower of Life so that Rose would get a nice energetic boost. Here's a picture that I used to help Rose with that. So basically where you see the blue little man, I envision the horse there, and you can see that universal energy is coming down from above and earth energy from below, and it sort of circulates out the heart and around, just gives that whole energy field a nice boost. She also needed a nervous system balance. And then what came up in one of the sessions also was visiting energy, and I'm pretty sure it was her foal. So basically I just release, or I have to ask first if the visiting energy needs to be cleared, and then I just send it into the true light with any assistance that it needs. Over the course of the healings, Rose needed a crystal. It was diamond. Thank goodness she didn't need it at the physical level, because it ain't cheap. But basically diamond is very much a master healer. It dispels negative energy. It can also break up blockages in the personality. Like sometimes what can happen is our resistance to what is becomes our norm. So diamond can help just unblock that. And then obviously there was a few chakras to deal with over the 3 sessions. So I'll just bring up this nice image for you. Here you can see the chakras. So the root chakra is represented by red. It's very much about grounding. It has to do with survival instinct, courage, and feeling secure. So if this chakra is out of balance, generally the horse will feel insecure. There'll be some fear and lack of trust. Rose needed her sexual progression chakra balanced 3 times, so that would be over each session. This one's to do with physical force and vitality, as well as creation and procreation. So when it's out of balance, you can get hormone imbalances, low confidence, breathing issues. There can be low energy and also lower back pain. And then you've got the solar plexus, which is represented by the yellow circle there. It's definitely about personal power and will. It's a lot to do with the sympathetic nervous system too, which is the flight, fight, freeze and fawn. So when it's out of balance, you can have digestive problems. There can be depression and lack of confidence. Then you've got the heart chakra there, represented by the larger green circle. It's all about divine unconditional love, and it also very much has to do with the human-animal bond. So when it's out of balance, there can be emotional issues. It can also affect the lungs and respiratory system. So I'm just wondering too if that had anything to do with the breathe easy as well. If maybe the heart chakra came up for that, maybe there was something going on. And it's also to do about the inability to bond with another animal or human, which Rose wasn't doing, except with her own human. Brow chakra came up. That's the indigo one right between the eyes there, which is related to psychic insight and telepathy. Basically, that's the way animals communicate, and when it's out of balance, it can cause headaches, depression, and post-traumatic pain. Now, animals also have minor chakras, so here's an image of their minor chakras, and the ones that Rose needed clearing clearing and balancing, I should say, were her self-preservation. So that's like the red alert state that she would have been in, flight or fight. And, you know, when it's out of balance, a horse can be submissive, they can be fearful and quite anxious. Then you've got the oversoul chakra, which in this diagram is represented by the silver circle. Oversoul can be white or silver. And this is basically how the animal is connected to their higher self or the spirit, the universe, and their own soul group. So, as in the horse soul group. Rose also needed her whiskers chakra cleared and balanced. So that's a silver blue colour. It's sort of right down there near the nose. And when you've got an imbalance in the whiskers chakra, it's very much related to the face, mouth, teeth, gums, and tongue. And as I mentioned, or did I mention earlier that Rose's jaw had actually being dislocated from the floating accident, so it kind of made sense that the whiskers chakra would come up because it's very much to do with that area. Okay, so I'll just share with you some feedback that I received. So after session 1, Jane just wrote to me and said, "Hi Donna, thank you so much. I'm very impressed. Your reading seems spot on for what we have been seeing from Rose in the physical. I'm driving to see her this afternoon. Peter says she seems very calm, and although still obviously easily spooks, seems to recover more quickly. I will let you know how I find her. I think the breathing issue you flagged is related to her extreme reactivity to any form of dust from her feed. She reacts to hay that other horses have no problems with by coughing very easily and persistently. I'll be in touch when I've seen her. I'll be able to keep a closer eye on her once she's home, because at that point in time, Jane had Rose at another property. She said why, I can't remember why. I don't know if she was upgrading her paddocks at the time or something. So anyway, she just sort of had to travel to see her baby. So session 3, there's a little bit more feedback. Jane writes, "Thank you for Rose's second report. I can't say I understand a lot of what is in it, but I can tell you that energetically and nervously she is noticeably improving. I'm able to see the Rose that I knew for 5 years before the accident coming back. She is generally less spooky and anxious in the stable and paddock. She is calmer and more present in her interactions with others and less entirely reliant on her connection with me. She's even investigating conversations with other people instead of walking or running away and just watching suspiciously from a distance. This is a huge change. Thank you. I shall look forward to her 3rd session and will be happy to write a reference." So far the feedback I got from every session was pretty cool. And then last but not least, the final testimonial. So basically it just says that she can't thank me enough for the energy work that I have done to help Rose. Rose has always been one of the sweetest, talented and keen to please horses I have been lucky enough to connect with and ride. She has had a very tough couple of years, however, which have changed her radically. She tragically lost her foal in the floods of 2022. I was seriously injured in a traffic accident, and then 6 months later she was involved in a float accident in which she hurt her back, neck and hip. She was treated by a number of good equine body workers and therapists, but has struggled to recover. She has very obviously been struggling with anxiety, sadness, disassociation and trauma. I had tried various good supplements, some of which helped a little, but she just wasn't herself. I must admit to some scepticism as to what your energy work could achieve from South Australia when Rose and I are in southeast Queensland. However, from the same perspective, I thought it couldn't do much harm to try. I'm so glad I did. 3 distance sessions with you has changed her life and given me back one of the best horses I have known. She is calm, responsive, happy and sound again. She's openly friendly and seeking connection, having become extremely averse to being handled or approached by anyone but me. Going through your session reports and looking back through my calendar, I'm a little gobsmacked at how accurate your insights are regarding issues I had not mentioned. You note her trapped emotion of grief from the exact date we lost her 37-year-old much-loved paddock mate. She spent weeks standing over that spot that she died. You don't mention many, but every specific date you mention can be linked to a permanent incident that hadn't necessarily seemed a particularly big deal at the time. That's a bit spooky, I'm afraid. Anyway, thank you from the bottom of my heart. I'll be telling all my horsey friends of your work, and I'm more than happy to act as a reference for anyone considering asking for your help. Kind regards, Jane Nichol. Jane also told me that Rose got her sass back out in the herd and she was starting to become a bit bossy out there to make sure she got her share of her feed, which was really cool to hear. So that was Rose's story. I hope you enjoyed hearing it. It's always such an honour to be able to help a horse this way, or to help any animals in this way. So if you have a pet that you believe has some emotional trauma, feel free to connect with me. My website is free2bepet-therapy, that's all one long word, .com.au. Anyway, thanks for watching and have a wonderful evening, night, day, wherever you are, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.